Today, we're delving into a foundational concept from mystical traditions, specifically the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, a system originating in the late 1800s. We're exploring the Neophyte degree, which this text describes as the very beginning of soul development. Eloise, what exactly does this Neophyte stage symbolize?
Noah, the Neophyte degree is represented as 0 = 0, and it's essentially the entry level initiation into spiritual awakening. Imagine stepping out of darkness, or what the text calls everyday ignorance, and seeing the first glimmers of spiritual light. It's like a newborn stage for your soul where you begin to explore your ego, acknowledge your limitations, and truly understand your deeper potential. It's tied to Melketh on the Tree of Life, representing the earthly realm where we ground ourselves before advancing.
So it's not just a ritualistic step, but a metaphor for these initial awakenings that happen to all of us. The text mentions breaking down this stage through three lenses: a male path, a female path, and their alchemical dance. Can you explain how this duality, these opposing forces, drives our soul's evolution?
Certainly, the male path is characterized by a linear progression, almost like climbing a ladder, where an individual confronts challenges to build a strong ego. The female path, in contrast, is more cyclical and intuitive, tied deeply to biological rhythms and a sense of flow. The alchemical dance is then how these two seemingly opposite approaches interact and energize each other, particularly in relationships, to create wholeness. This duality, like spirit and body, isn't meant to be in conflict. It's what fuels our growth. This stage also confronts basics like language barriers, emotional wants, and the fear of death, all while building a healthy sense of self.
Let's unpack the male path a bit more. It sounds very structured, starting in childhood with a shift from pure instinct to self awareness. What are some of these fundamental limits that an individual on this path confronts?
The text identifies several key areas, starting in childhood with the shift from pure instinct, like survival mode, to self awareness. One big limit is language. Words often fall short when expressing deep feelings, leading to secret inner worlds shared only with a higher power. This teaches acceptance that not everyone will understand you. Then come limits on actions, learning about consequences and karma. What goes around comes around, as parents teach fairness and the golden rule. Next are emotional desires, where intense wants crash against reality, building resilience and teaching the pursuit of achievable dreams. Sadly, squashing ambitions can kill drive.
So these are all external or social limits initially. Does it move into more personal or existential challenges?
Yes, absolutely. Personal limitations follow, acknowledging physical traits or inherent abilities, which fosters self love and confidence through small, earned victories. Deeper questions then arise about immortality and destiny, sparking a sense of purpose, but also a feeling of helplessness against fate. Right and wrong solidify, often through accepting elders' wisdom, though this can lead to stagnation if not critically examined. Finally, the fear of death looms, with religions often offering answers, heaven versus hell, but this can breed distrust of natural instincts, teaching the body as sinful. The text compares mastering these 8 areas to Erik Erikson's psychosocial stages, building a healthy ego through a linear progression, conquering one limit to move to the next.
It sounds like a very goal oriented, almost an ascent. This linear step by step approach seems quite demanding. How does the female path, with its emphasis on intuition and flow, contrast with this structured climb?
The female path is truly different. It's described as riding a river, cyclical, intuitive, and tied to the body's rhythms. Girls often start with an innate goddess awareness, an intuitive sense that everything connects and possibilities abound. It's optimistic, carefree, and expressive, with communication ringing with innocent truth. Rebellion in teens comes naturally, pushing against rules and using manipulation to get desires. Emotions are fluid. There aren't fixed wants, just joy and fulfillment, though impatience can brew as time blurs.
So, less about mastering specific limitations and more about experiencing and integrating natural cycles.
Precisely. Dreams of future roles like motherhood fuel a sense of control over destiny. Intuition guides long term visions, and concepts of right and wrong feel fluid, seen as potentials to explore. There's an ability to keep secrets, pride in others wins, but also a potential for naivety, rejecting authority that clashes with inner harmony. The text also highlights a fascination with birth and how parents' warnings about sex might clash with an intuition that it's essential for fullness. Periods mark entry into physical cycles. It's holistic, integrating body, emotions, and spirit from birth, preparing for roles like motherhood, in contrast to the male's structured ascent.
Given these two distinct paths, the male's linear ego building and the female's intuitive flow, how do they engage in this alchemical interaction the text mentions? How do they spark growth through partnership?
This is where duality truly shines in relationships. The male and female paths alchemize, mixing like fire and water to create steam. In the Neophyte stage, it begins as initial attraction, a magnetic pull that ignites soul sparks often without needing sex, just a sincere connection. The man on his path might idealize the woman as a goddess, mentally kneeling, feeling both unworthy and incredibly alive by sending her energy. She, in turn, opens instinctively, feeling his worship makes her lovable, merging auras through touch or even just a gaze.
So, it's an exchange of energies that builds tension, almost like a spiritual foreplay leading to a deeper bond.
Exactly. The text describes it as a romantic beginning where shared interests bridge gaps. He generates idealistic energy to uplift her, and she transforms it into healing or helps him achieve goals. Together, they achieve balance. His limits are met by her flow, and her cycles are grounded by his structure. This tantric-like exchange, this prolonged emotional buildup, fosters wholeness, transforming solo struggles into shared awakenings.
That's a fascinating way to describe relational dynamics through a spiritual lens. For listeners who want to apply these ideas, what practical exercises does the text suggest for engaging with this neophyte journey?
The text offers 3 simple yet profound tools. First, journaling limits. Identify one male path limitation you faced, like emotional desires, and one female path flow, such as intuitive dreams. Reflect on how they've shaped you and meditate for 10 minutes daily, visualizing light awakening your inner spark. Second, the duality mirror. With a partner or even alone, discuss a childhood memory. If you identify with the male path, share a climb moment. If female, a flow experience. Hold hands and breathe together, feeling energies merge. If single, imagine opposites balancing within you. Finally, a nature ritual. Visit an oak tree, which ties into the book's broader theme. Touch its bark, ground yourself, whisper your limitations, and let your intuition respond. This echoes the elemental introductions of the Golden Dawn. These exercises are meant to build self-awareness, transforming challenges into catalysts for growth.
It sounds like the neophyte degree truly is the soul's hello to the world, combining the awakening of ego through limitations, the embrace of intuition, and the alchemy of partnership. It's a foundational stage, preparing us to move from symbolic blindness into light. Understanding this duality not as conflict, but as harmony seems to be the core takeaway. If this discussion resonated with you, consider sharing this episode with someone you think would benefit from hearing